Ahora los invito a escuchar una plática, pues, francamente deliciosa de Shai Pirón. Él fue secretario de Educación en Israel y una de las cosas que hemos querido es darles a todos ustedes puntos de vista de personas de todo el mundo. Ya vimos personas de la India, de México, de Estados Unidos, ahora de Israel, para que veamos cómo tenemos mucho en común los sistemas educativos que resolver, retos muy parecidos en todo el mundo y particularidades que nos llevan pues, a tener una política educativa nuestra, nacional, mexicana. Pero la reflexión siempre nos ayuda y este hombre de lo que habla es de derribar muros, de tener una educación en la cual pues, tengamos todos el desarrollo de las capacidades más que solamente una instrucción desde el punto de vista academicista. Entonces, creo que todos lo vamos a disfrutar y que vamos a aprender no solo de verlo, sino de la reflexión posterior entre todos nosotros. Corre video.
Look at me. I was the Minister of Education in Israel. I met a lot of ministers, prime ministers, presidents of all over the world. I taught at the best law schools in Israel. 17 years I was a principal of one of the big schools in Israel. I was a pretty good student and I have wonderful grades in English. And now for a month I can't sleep. I can't sleep because I'm afraid to speak with you in English. I'm not sure that I will be able to express myself properly in English. So my question is, why? Why wonderful students cannot speak in English? If it was only my private problem, I would never stand here and tell you about my private problems. But I think that it's a problem of thousands of students all over the world. Our teachers teach us a lot about grammars, and most of us can't give small presentation in English. Now we have two options, because we need to translate our learning from the books to the life. So now we have two options, or to sing together the anthem of my generation from the famous album of Pink Floyd, We Don't Need No Education, or break the wall and change the learning from repetition learning to meaningful learning. I used to spend an hours in the closet. Yes, you heard right, I was in high school and I hated school, even though I loved to learn. So I hid in a closet and read books. For me, the classroom was an inspiring place. I usually felt that nothing, but nothing, do something for my life, and nothing is really important for me and for you. And I think that the kind of thing that wouldn't really help me to realize my small dream to fix the world, Tikkun Olam. The many exams I passed did not prepare me for real life. Nothing taught me how to listen, how to feel, how to love, how to live, and how to be happy. Yes, that's right. To love and be happy. John Lennon's words, understand this, help me to understand it. Let's do it together. It's wonderful words. He said, when I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to do When I grow up, I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand the life. To me, my school curriculum was really the bricks that made up the wall. How can you enjoy yourself, be happy, when your school days look like this? This is really my school days from the 80s. What's sad is that today, 35 years later, the world has changed, but education has not. We must believe that change is possible, feasible, and appropriate for every teacher and every student. We must have enough courage to break the wall, and we need a new curriculum for the sake of our children. We have another problem, the political correctness. We have stopped talking about meaningful things like values and morals. Education and fear do not go together. Education and fear do not go together. When teachers are too afraid to talk about the why, they focus on how. The change they really need in the classroom haven't happened yet. I would like to suggest a formula. You know, in Israel now, everybody wants to talk about math and formula, so I would suggest a formula for effective learning. The Israeli professor of education, Yoram Arpaz, behind this formula, and the formula is P equal I plus T. Yes. Successful pedagogy consists of two elements: ideology, questions like what and why, and technology, how to teach. People seek an ideology because they want meaning. Schools have become boring because they are not meaningful place. When I was a boy, my mother taught me literature. Because we didn't learn in our religious school literatures, my mother taught me. So we learned together one of the works by Nobel Peace Prize winner, Elie Wiesel. He touched my heart. He touched my heart. My mother suggests me to I write him. So when I was 18, I did. To my surprise, he answered me. After a few letters, he sent me to read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. 30 years later, I was the Minister of Education of Israel. I led a major reform that changed the focus to meaningful learning. Thank you, Mother. The seeds for this reform were planted when I was 18. From Wiesel and Frankel, I learned that meaning transforms life. P equal I plus T is the first step in breaking the wall. It isn't enough. Let's go up one more level from pedagogy to education. Education is complex because it compels love. I remember an outstanding student who was sitting an important physics exam. She sat and didn't do a thing. Her teacher, a superb educator, went over to her, gave her a hug, and told him it's okay. Be relaxed. I still know you are an excellent student. So the girls took out her pen and began to answer the test. The teacher showed me a note the student had written on the exam together with a smiley face. Dear teachers, he said, thank you. No one has hugged me in a month. These girls teaches us that love for children is the foundation and perhaps the essence of education. Love is able to multiply the power of ideology and technology. Now, the proposed formula is E, education, equals life times ideology plus technology. Children are not an iPhone. Without love, they don't function. Teachers must not be afraid to show love for the students. I admit that I love my student, each and every one. Without love in education, there can be no excellence. But this still isn't enough. We need to break down one more brick in the wall. We need a new school curriculum. Here's what I propose. Cancel regular subjects, and replace them with areas of meaning. For example, forget teaching history, Bible, and literature separately. I propose create an area of meaning that we called it now Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam, fixing the world in the class. We will use that happened in the past, history, our ideological foundation. For me, it's Bible, but everybody has ideological foundation. And the emotional static literature to create a better future. That's Tikkun Olam lessons. In one of the high schools in Israel, the students realized that the janitor worked at night, so he wasn't able to enjoy an evening out with his wife. So they sent them to a dinner at a fancy restaurant and cleaned the building themselves. For me, this is a homework in Tikkun Olam. For me, this is the kind of lesson they will remember all their life. Another example, a class on body and soul. Combine physical education with nutrition and life skills. And teach the students to be happy and optimistic, like the letter of John Lennon. To be better people. A third area of meaning is household and finance. Students need to know that the area of excellence is not math test. It is how to manage their household and expenses. So we can create a better society. Today in schools, students learn knowledge. At the new schools, they will learn to understand. Today in school, the tests are on paper or computer. At the new schools, I'm proposing the exam will be to implement the knowledge. Today in school, students learn to answer questions. At the new schools, we learn to ask questions. Ask questions. Today, when you graduate, you stop learning. When I was teacher, I was offended when at the end of the year, the students said, "Great, hooray! We have finished learning history." For me, it was strange. I was sure that they had only started to live history. But even this is not enough. It's not enough to pull down the wall. It also depended on you, the parents. The school system is afraid of you, the parents. They all think that you only want good grades. Go, please, go and tell them that you want them to talk about ideology and values. Please go and tell them please go and tell them to help your children search of meaning. Now, education is love multiplied by ideologic plus technology to the power of teachers. This is Rabbi Meir Shapiro, the rabbi of the Lublin city in Poland. His life's mission was to establish the Yeshiva Chachmei Lublin. When the building was completed, the rabbi had a verse from the Bible inscribed on the building. Lechu banim, shim'u li, irat Adonai alametchem. You know, he said, most teachers think teaching is when the children are near you, here, near me. But I want you to know that everything starts when you live. I can't think of more precise words to express the vision of every teacher and every parent. Mi haish. Thank you. There is a story I love about a teacher who asked his students how many stars there are in the sky. One student answered that his grandfather told him there are 2 million stars in the sky. Another student says that there are 50,000. And one boy replies that they are just 1 star in the sky. The teacher decides to investigate this child because it's a strange answer. When he goes to the boy's home, he discovers that the child lives in an attic with no windows. This boy can see only 1 star. As a student, I had years of this. I had teachers who prevented me from seeing the star in the sky, because they were sure that you and the Minister of Education wanted children to be goal-oriented, achievements and tests. My biggest dream is to teach them that the sky is with full stars. If we let teachers teach area of meaning instead of irrelevant subjects, we will discover that the many stars in the sky are our children. Thank you.